First of all, thank you very much and welcome to Hotpot Italia. Thank you for your time and your availability to participate to this new masterclass. And it's a great honor to interview you. So first of all, let me give you an introduction of what Hotpot is. Is a platform that through interviews and articles, we talk about many topics from design to digital, arts and fashion, a huge mix of topics like hot pot, that it's this traditional spicy soup, traditional of the Chinese of Chinese countries. So it's a honor again to speak with you. And for those who do not know it, you are the vice president of global marketing at Timberland. And so before starting our conversation, I would like to ask you some questions that are typical
Okay.
for our guest to break the ice. I know you are Belgium, so
Yes.
I would like to know what is your favorite food or dish from Belgium, and also what is the best memory that you have associated to this food.
Wow. So first of all, I would say, but there's many, of course, there's many great food in Belgium, but I don't want to stereotype it because again, people will say, oh, French fries. French fries, of course. By the way, fries are invented by the Belgians, right?
I know.
Just so you know. But for me, it's cheese and wine, for sure. Belgian passendale cheese, or the cheeses that often are connected with the beer. Vieux Chimay is an amazing cheese, but I would salute Italy because I would say cheeses, Belgian cheeses first, with a maybe Barbera d'Alba as an amazing wine, which is one of my top wines, my preferred wines. And I could eat that forever, just saying, and with good bread.
Cool, cool. And I also know, coming back to French fries that are invented in Belgium. I lived close to Belgium in Lille, and I
Oh, you
tried Belgian
did?
fries. Yes, and I mean, I can promise that Belgian fries are the best. So
Thank you very much. Which then actually will bring me to us to the next question, because actually I was born in a city and a village that's close to Lille, close to the to the French border in the northern part of France, right? So yeah, I was actually born there. Yeah,
cool, cool,
but then
cool.
on the Belgian side.
Okay, of course. And what is another question? What is the latest thing that you ordered from a food delivery service? And was there a special occasion for that?
Yes, I think Saturday night we ordered Japanese ramen because we love it as a family, and now that we with COVID can go out less with the family, we do special orders in the taste that they love, and the whole family loves Chinese food and the whole family loves Japanese food, so that's what we did.
Okay, cool. I see. I see. And also we now talked about food, but now let's say that our daily life, as we said before, it changed a lot with COVID. So the other question is more related to party. Do you remember the best party that you ever been before COVID, and why was it so special?
Many. I actually did a couple of amazing parties in Milan back in the days, also during Fashion Week. But talking about Milan, I think, and we will talk about that later, about my, the dream that I'm living since I was a kid. But the best parties are in the capital cities. They are mesmerizing. I remember vividly a rooftop party in Rio de Janeiro during New Year's Eve, all dressed up in white. It was amazing. I remember the high days of Le Baron club in Paris, but also I lived for 5 to 6 years in China, and the party club was Le Baron Shanghai. That, by the way, we helped open back in the days when we were there. And I think it's really the combination of being in one of the capital cities and then having that influx of people coming together at a nightlife, with having that, like, it's, and combining with food, because what is amazing is that leaving at borderline morning and then go for the food carts, because then you have the best food. Like in China, the best food is when we left Le Baron early in the morning sometimes, and then Chinese love food, and the best food is on the streets, cooked in front of you, and having that conversation with the locals when the sun is coming up, right? Or when the morning is coming.
Different atmosphere. After a party, you feel it even more. It's a mix of, let's say, feelings and emotions.
Yes, and seeing, ending the day and seeing, the activity of the new day. Those were the days before COVID, but
we all miss these days.
We all miss them. Yes.
I mean, hopefully we will see them again. Let's just be patient a bit.
Or they will, we will have them in new forms, right? Which is meta, and it's something that we're going to talk about.
Exactly. So maybe now we can start about talking about some business and marketing topics. And I would like really to start from the beginning. So I would like to hear your story about, of course, where you come from, that you mentioned before. What did you study during university? And also, if you remember the first interview that you did, I don't know, for your first internship or job.
Yeah, so I come from a very, very small village near Bruges, which is maybe for Italian or people around the world, a famous city from around 1100s, right? Even earlier when it started. But I come from a very, very small village. And we will talk about that later as well. My dream was always to see the world. Again, the village and Belgium and the village will always be in my heart. And my family and my friends that are there. But again, having a global nomadic life is what I always dreamt of when I was little. And then I did my university studies in Leuven, which is the university city in Belgium and in Flanders, Flemish side. I studied political and social sciences first. But then with promise from my dad, when I would get my degree there, that I could continue. So after that, I went to the Sorbonne in Paris and did another master's in cultural studies. And that was also, I must say, an amazing experience for someone who was young back then, right? To live that life as a student.
Did you like Paris?
Oh, I loved it. Again, what I love about capitals, wherever you are, is that influx of people from around the world. And my dormitory, or where I stayed, was in Cité. It's called Cité Internationale, which is the international areas. And basically, the Cité Internationale in Paris was built around 1800s, right? And basically, each of the countries built their houses there. And so it's an international city. So the Belgian house was next to the Moroccan house, next to the Norwegian house. And having all these international students coming together from around the world, going to and celebrate their cultural celebrations together, right? it was just amazing, right? As a young person, it was again where I wanted to be from a very young. I felt at home. Let's say it like that. It was great.
I know very well La Cité because I also had the chance to live in Paris, and it's really amazing. There were some friends that were living in La Cité at the time, and I also experienced the party life in La Cité. It's
Oh, it was
amazing
great. Yes.
because as you said, all countries have their buildings. There is the Japanese dormitory, the Italian, the Portuguese. So there is a lot of differences, and you
Yeah.
really feel a different atmosphere.
Yeah, and you celebrate. It's more than a party, right? It's after Ramadan, you salute, you know, your friends from another country. When you know, the Scandinavian had their tree burnings, right? And I think that's just amazing. Then Thanksgiving for American people, and then to not only to celebrate, but celebrate that part of their culture was amazing, and an experience that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Yeah.
And after your studies, what did you do? Did you had the chance to do an internship to start to work?
Yeah.
You remember the first approach that you have with work, let's say.
Yeah. So my first actually interview for an internship was in Paris. It was a disaster. I think the guy who interviewed me expected maybe a French lady, and there I was, Flemish tall, maybe the opposite of what he expected. And so my interview absolutely did not go well. And it was also, I think, my first experience, with that. And I think as well for everybody who listens in, you need to go through that. You need to, and again, you need to dust it off, dry your tears, right? And go at it again, right? And move forward. So I got another interview with someone else for another job. And actually, the interview was with a woman. I got the job. I got the internship, which back then, if you maybe remember, it was being part of the team that was building the new Bibliothèque de France, library. Again, the rest is history. So learning, not everything is successful. You know, clean off your tears, head high, move forward, right? But yeah, my first ever interview was for that. It was a big disaster.
I mean, I also felt like there are for sure some occasions in which interviews are not good, not everything goes as you plan. But I mean, if you keep pushing, you will always find opportunities, and probably, I mean, maybe it was not the right place, the right opportunity for you, and what came after was the right path. Amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think again that was my first lesson right there, right? It's like you dry your tears, you move on, you do it again, right? And you move forward. And it's still like that today, right? One meeting is great, the others might not be so great. You move forward, all good,
It's a never-ending story.
Yes.
And then you have spent more than 20 years in Nike. Your last role was Global Vice President of Influencer Marketing and Collaborations, if I remember well. And so I would like to start from here. Like, in your opinion, in 2022, which are the biggest opportunities that you see in the field of marketing, influencer marketing, as well as in collaborations that we see many times between brand designers and also between brands?
There's many,
Okay.
right? And nobody has the ultimate truth, right? Nobody knows it all, because everything is evolving so quickly, as it should, because the consumer is evolving so quickly. But there's many. I would say for brand as ours, again, I'm heading up the global marketing team for Timberland. Timberland is about, like other brands, we have our values, right? We call it, like every other brand that is moving forward, they have positionings, the famous CMPPs, right? We have our purpose, we have our mission, we have our vision. And for us, the value of being an authentic brand, right, is incredibly important. So I would say building authentic, distinctive relationships with the people of influence, for us as a brand, is important, right? And I think that that might be challenging, because you might have the biggest billboards, human billboards, or macro influencer in the world. If they don't believe in what you believe in, right, your reach might be incredibly high, yeah, but what is the long-term engagement and commitment, right? And I think that's often a challenging exercise. I think that would be one. The other great opportunity, and I think it's exciting, is the rise of digital creators, right? And again, you have leaders of influence in different fields, and brands, based on who you are and what your values is, you should connect with the fields that matter to you, right? Now, digital creators is exploding right now, and with the rise not only of the new social platforms, but also Meta.
Yeah.
Now, how then, as brands, right, how are you entering that relationship with these digital creators, whether it's your influencers, or as we call them, authenticators on Clubhouse with millions of followers, or Twitch gamings, or gamers, right? How do you identify the right ones, and who is the right one's partner for you as a brand? And I think for us as a brand, as Timberland, where again these values are important, I think it's that authenticity is something that we really take very seriously when we identify our partners, not only in the fields that we know today, art, entertainment, but also in the new fields and the fields of digital creation, right, and digital influencers. And then I would say the fact that everybody is an influencer nowadays, right? The future generation, definitely your generation and beyond, you all are your brand, right? You're all your individual, you're all a messenger, and you develop your brand even as polymaths, right? And as a hashtag generation, it's about who you are and the things that you want to do, and your own identity and brand that you want to drive forward. So then I think the opportunity for brands to engage with the community is also looking at when do we connect with nano influence, with micro influence, with versus macro influence, right? And when do we connect with whom for what? I think is a great opportunity for all the brands. And then last but not least, talking about digital influence is also Meta, right? Because again, the future is about avatars and digital influencers, as much as real people, as in new digital created avatars, right? So how are we going to, as brands, then build relationship with you as a real person versus your avatar that often might be your alter ego, right? I think that is, might be scary, but as marketeers, for me, it's exciting. It's like, wow, okay,
it's
let's
at the
go.
same time a challenge and an opportunity that you need to explore and for sure also at the beginning understand. And it's super interesting for sure. And now that you mentioned that of course you're working in Timberland and also in an amazing role. Do you want to tell us a bit your experience in this brand that I mean, it's an iconic brand at the worldwide level. So I might think that there is a lot of, let's say, brand awareness among the people, culture behind the brand. So do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Yes, absolutely. As you say, I'm honored to work for one of world's iconic brands, right? For sure, with our yellow boot, our 10061, as we call it, Timberland is part of culture. And for me, is that, as a marketeer, as a storyteller, is just exciting. And so as then a brand with an identity, as we say, with a mission, with a vision, our mission is to inspire, equip our consumers. We give them a name, right? We call them the adventurous doers, to inspire, equip them to step outside, because we are that brand for the outside, but also I think is important, move the world forward. And that's where brands such as ours, and I'm very happy to work for a brand that shares my values, right? We have a vision to build a more equitable and greener future. Now, for me as a storyteller, as a marketeer, to work with a brand that aligns so much with my purpose in life, then on top of it, to take that brand that has been adopted by culture, and then to be able to work with our consumers, engage our consumers, and to create the brand and evolve the brand and catalyze it into the future with the consumers, is an exciting job. This is what, as marketeers, you love to do. And then to do it with a brand that really syncs up with your own value system is really something unique and special for me.
Yeah, I agree. And also when there is a match, as you said, between the brand for which you want to work, you might work, or you have the opportunity to work, and its culture. I mean, you are, let's say, aligned in terms of goals, opportunities, how you see things, and also your clients. I mean, it's like heaven. I mean, you're
Yes. Oh,
a
absolutely.
playground. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
and if you have to choose one specific project for which you worked in Timberland and that you really enjoyed, or that left a special mark on you, what project would it be?
Many. And so many that we're currently working on that I can't unveil
No
yet.
spoilers. No.
But again, to continue to further build on what I just said, right? Our mission, our vision is to build that equitable and green future. So we have committed as a brand to be net positive by 2030. Now, what does that mean? It means that, as a brand, you go beyond zero impact, right? We commit that we help to restore nature, that we help to restore the environment and give back more than we take, right? This is what that commitment stands for. Now, as a team of leaders, marketing is one function within the broader business mix, right? And brand mix, because, you know, we are all the brand, right? As a team of leaders, we have partnered with, you know, some external organizations, and have just launched our Take Back program, which is huge for brands also that are footwear led, to launch a global Take Back program that is not only present in North America, in Europe, but also in China. A huge undertaking that we also happened thanks to the amazing partnership that we have with our innovators and leaders at VF, right? Because you're in it together. And that's the great thing also for all of us, North Face, Timberland, that we are part of this amazing, bigger mothership that is moving the world forward. But back to Timberland. So the Take Back program will then allow us to also launch, and it's called Timber Loop, to launch circular design and circular product, which driven by the footwear, but also the I would say the apparel engines, right, is footwear that is designed with the intent of disassembly, right? Because it's one thing is to create a footwear that you disassemble, but the parts still can be harmful for the environment. So our Timber Loop product, and the first one that we're launching is for Earth Day this year. It's a Timber Loop tracker, is made so not only to disassembly, for the consumer to disassemble and to help disassemble the process to be easier for the consumer, but the parts are from that are built that are part of that Timber Loop tracker are also better for nature on its own than, you know. So I think that comes back to when you get up every day and you work hard as a marketeer, which is storytelling and connecting to our consumers and engaging our consumers one-on-one or at scale, right? That you can build the world forward while you're doing your craft of a marketeer, is for me an amazing place to be. Does that make sense?
Of course it makes sense. The trending words right now since a few months are NFTs and metaverse. So from your special point of view, how do you think a brand can deal with these brands and with these two, let's say, new opportunities, also from a marketing point of view?
So first of all, everything we do starts with the consumer. The consumer is at the heart and the center of what we do, right? So the consumers today is as much present in the real world as in the digital world, as in meta. So as marketeers, but as brands, you need to go where your consumer is, right? So it starts there. And again, for me, that's an exciting process because it's the consumer that, you know, with us goes to new places, right? So that is one. I would start there. Then second, the opportunities that this creates in meta marketing is exciting to me, right? Because it pulls you forward. And in the end, it's being present in that consumer journey that stretches the real world and the meta, right? It's phygital marketing, one, right? So then for us, as a brand, as Timberland brand, the executions and what we do alongside that journey, you know, it's amazing, right? So it goes from doing partnerships with the Fabricant, which is a digital fashion house, and we collaborated with them on a collection and an experience, a digital meta experience around the Northern Lights, that, you know, brings you not only into meta, but also takes that meta into a physical retail door, right? And that is amazing. The other one that we're working on and will be launched soon is a partnership that we're doing with RGA, is one of our digital agencies. It's called Tim's Trails, where we are building a gamified experience to inspire our consumer across the world, from Tokyo to Shanghai to, you know, Milan, to New York, with a gamified experience around our boot making, from all the way from the classics to, you know, the new innovations that we launch, where people can discover how boot innovation and product innovation is interconnected across years and across generations. And then also they can experience that in a gamified way, how that then interact with culture, right? Now that project that starts in digital, and starts with a language that is inspirational for our consumer, which is gamified experience, is now also being taken immediately into retail, right? So that cross between realities, where in the end, and for the consumer, it is not different realities, it's one reality for the consumer, right? To then be able as brands to serve the consumer with experiences and solutions of engagement is definitely something that from a Timberland perspective we are working on.
Amazing. Thank you very much.